Hello, here are my top 8 picks for best movies of 2024. And I'm only doing 8 because this year wasn't super exciting as far as movies go, in my opinion. But these are the standouts. So here we go. Number 8. The Substance. Did you know that Hollywood values youth? Oh, do you like body horror? How about excessive nudity? Do you like breasts? Of all shapes and sizes? Funny story, I walked into this movie blind and watched it with my parents. Big mistake. You probably don't want to do that unless you're ready for some awkwardness. Yeah, we stopped watching about 25 minutes in and I had to finish it myself later under the cover of darkness and in solitude. Also, do you like breasts? That's The Substance. Number 7. Longlegs. Yes, take some parts of Silence of the Lambs, some parts of True Detective, and some parts of schlocky M. Night Shyamalan sci-fi horror, run it through a Rosemary's Baby machine, and paint it with a few Stephen King novels, and you get Longlegs. But even with its strong inspiration from obvious source material, it does so many things so well that I found it to be a remarkable movie. The mystery, the tone, and the setup are all very well done. The ending is a bit of a letdown, and if you think too much about the technicals of the plot, the whole thing kind of falls apart a bit, but it's still a movie that was crafted well with a passionate care and consideration that is not common in modern films. Also, I'm a sucker for occult thrillers and true crime, so yeah, good stuff. Number 6. Heretic. This movie is mostly dialogue and is completely carried by Hugh Grant's creepy performance. Yes, there were red flags that the two protagonists ignored or downplayed that allowed them to be put into a bad situation. And yes, it's annoying when movies do that. But we're also talking about two young adults, and I don't know about you, but I definitely didn't make the best decisions when I was that age. So some of the poor choices are believable and realistic in my opinion. It's also fun to put yourself into a situation as a viewer where you are asking yourself if you would make the same decision. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the protagonists who are there to do a job, and they know that there is some risk-reward involved. But anyway, the first half of this movie is freaking great, but I do think it starts to fall apart later, especially when multiple other characters are suddenly introduced, which is hard to talk about without spoiling it, so you'll just have to watch it if you haven't already. But if you have watched it already, then you'll know what I'm talking about. The logistics of those characters suddenly showing up while being there the whole time, I have questions. But either way, it's compelling with some fun anti and pro-religious arguments and some neat mystery elements sprinkled throughout. Also, Hugh Grant, good on you, sir. Number 5. Conclave. This is a masterclass drama with a terrific performance from Ralph Fiennes. Even if you aren't super interested in the subject matter, which is basically how a new pope gets selected when an old one dies, so it's basically a religious politics movie. Even if you aren't interested in that, the core themes of the film and how human nature is always a factor in important decisions, no matter how many safeguards are in place, I think the ideas resonate and are delivered very well. And like any true piece of art, it leaves just enough ambiguity and subtlety for the viewer to make up their own mind. So yeah, it was great, and I highly recommend it. Number 4. Odity. This movie felt like an on-point episode of Tales from the Crypt. Fun occult stuff, punchy dialogue, creepy house, man is the greatest villain of all in a monster movie, mystery, deception, and a twist that's pretty obvious, and you'll probably see it coming a mile away, but it doesn't matter because the rest of the movie is just that good. Seriously, great stuff. Highly recommend. Number 3. Nasferatu. This is the only movie on this list I reviewed on this channel, and I filmed myself talking about it from the movie theater parking lot just a few minutes after I finished watching it, so my reaction was fresh. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. Overall, great gothic vampire movie, complete with appropriate dialogue, lighting, visuals, and a villain that is actually a villain. Yeah, none of that sympathy for the devil bullshit. Sometimes evil is just evil and we don't need to empathize with it or understand the devastating childhood or any of that stuff. Robert Eggers, thank you for making this movie. Number 2. The Last Stop in Yuma County. This movie was almost my top pick for 2024, but missed it by a hair. If you like 90s Coen Brothers and Quentin Tarantino movies, you will probably like The Last Stop in Yuma County. The idea of the movie is pretty simple. Basically, a couple bank robbers show up at a gas station that's out of gas, so they have to wait at the attached diner for the fuel truck, which is revealed in the first scene of the movie as not going to be arriving because it crashed. But in the meantime, other characters come and go from the diner, and the tension grows as people start to get suspicious and put things together. Jim Cummins is great as usual, as is the girl from The House of the Devil from 2009, which is another really good horror movie that you should see if you haven't already. This movie has a classic shootout scene that I think could stand toe-to-toe with the greats. The ending is also perfect, although it might not be what you expect, but then again, the main character doesn't get what they expect either, so it works. Fantastic, 10 out of 10. Number 1. Strange Darling. Alright, before you come at me in the comments, I know this was filmed in 2022, and I know that it premiered at Fantastic Fest in fall of 2023. But guess what? It didn't get an actual theatrical release until fall of 2024, so I'm going to count it as a 2024 movie. And even if you want to call this a 2023 movie, I would argue that this movie has the unique ability to transcend time, giving it the ability to appear on best movie lists from different years. That's how good it is. So whatever. Anyway, this movie is really good. Kyle Gallner is in top form. This guy has been making a splash in a number of great low-budget indie projects over the last few years, including the also outstanding Dinner in America, which you should also see if you haven't already. I don't know how he continues to make such good picks for movies, but he continues to appear in really great stuff on a consistent basis. Willa Fitzgerald gives what is arguably one of the best acting performances of the year in my opinion, demonstrating great range. The movie is extremely well done, a story told in different sections and out of order, which would normally come across as gimmicky, but here it just worked. You should watch this knowing as little as you can about it so you can uncover things organically as you go along. But you should definitely see it. My highest recommendations. 10 out of 10. Maybe 11 out of 10? I don't know, but it's really something special. And there you have it, my top picks of 2024. Do you agree, disagree? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.